Welcome to the Virtual Village Hall. I'm Rachel from I Printed That, and this is the first of two very different sessions that I've got for you this month. So in today's session, we will be practicing some watercolour techniques without a brush. We're going to be painting, or printing, should I say, these autumn wreaths using a glass and some cotton buds, and obviously our watercolours. And then in 2 weeks' time, I'm really excited about this one. On the 17th of October, same time, 11 AM, I have got for you paper lanterns. If I can quickly turn it off and then I'll turn it back on. Here they are. And then you pop a light in and you get this effect. I don't know how well, there we go, that's better for you. So really excited about that one. So that one is happening in a couple of weeks' time. If you can't wait that long, then I'll be sending this out as a tutorial to my newsletter subscribers. If you'd like to subscribe and get this sooner, then just go to iprintedthat.com to put your email in on the top of the homepage, just to join Print Club, and then that will be sent to you this week. I'll also put a link in the comments for you, so you can just go straight to that. So on to today's session. So watercolours without a brush. So as I said, I'm Rachel from I Printed That, and I'm a print artist. So when someone sent me a reel by the watercolour artist Anna Koloyedic, and I apologise if I've pronounced that name wrong, Anna Koloyedic, she said, my friend said to me, this is going to be right up your street, because rather than using a paintbrush, it uses implements to print with. So I was like, yes, I want to give this one a go. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop you down. All the items that you need are listed in the show notes, but I will also talk you through what's needed. Okay, so let's get started. So let's start just by talking about the paper. So the paper that I'm using, this is just lining paper. Wallpaper lining paper. It's absolutely brilliant if you just want to practice and try things out. You can then, once you're kind of really confident with this, you can then just go on to watercolour paper. But this is just the paper that I'm going to be using today, and you get some great results from it. You will also need a glass or a cup. I'm just going to be using the rim of that. You'll need cotton buds or Q-tips if you're one of our US friends. You will need your watercolours. You can use anyone. You can use the ones that are in tubes. You can use children's ones. You can use the ones that are in these little sort of pressed powder forms. You'll also need a jar or two of water. And I did lie about not needing a brush, because we will need a brush. But don't worry, it's just to mix up your paint and also to load up the items that we're printing with. It's also quite a good idea to have handy just some old rags. I use these art tea towels or some kitchen rolls, something like that, just in case you need to blot anything or any spills, so we can clear up a mess. Okay, so let's start by mixing our paint. So just before I came on, I made sure that I'd wetted all of my paint, so they should be ready to use by now. So you can just use a spray mister, or just pop some water on the top like so. Let that soak in for a moment or two and make it much easier to use. Excuse me, I have got a little bit of a cough at the moment, so just excuse me if I just need to have a glass of water or just have a little cough. But we are continuing. So let's start by mixing up a green that's going to form our wreath. So I've got water in my mix palette, and I'm going to start with white. And I'm going to add a slight ochre colour and then some green. And that's going to give us a nice pale green. I might just add slight more. that, and I want to maybe make that just slightly more brown, kind of a bit more mossy. Let's add. There we go. So when you're mixing your colours, any colours that you mix, watercolours, acrylics, oils, always start with a light base or the lightest colour that you're going to need to mix, and then add your darker colours. It just means that you're not going to waste a lot of paint getting a dark colour light, because it's always easier to go from light to dark. So that's our green mixed up. While I'm here, I'm also going to mix some of the other colours. So I've got this kind of corn, this lovely golden corn colour. I've got a red berry colour and also an orange berry colour. So I might as well mix those. Actually, I'll tell you what, we're going to print this first because that's going to need time to dry. So let's move those aside. And we're going to start by printing our wreath. So let's just have a practice. So if you've got a practice piece of paper there. And to do this, just use your brush. Let's bring that over a bit so you can see it better. To go all the way around. And then you're just going to do that. And you're going to do this about 3-4 times. Just slightly overlapping it. So paint it on the rim. Let's give it a couple of seconds to come back down. And then do your brush. Just do your print. You give it a little twist, you'll get a more solid. If you just leave it, you'll get just where the lines were. Okay, so how easy is that? Do you think you can do that? Okay, so let's do that on our proper piece of paper then. And it's just in the centre. Okay, there we are. So that's our wreath printed. So let's leave that to this one side while we mix up our other colours. Leave that to dry for a little bit. So wash your brush out. It's a good idea to have 2 water pots. So you do a first wash and a second wash. That will make sure that you get rid of all that any green colour. And then I want to, let's mix up that kind of corn colour. So I'm going to start with that basic ochre, I think it is. Have a look so you know what colour it is. I think it does say on here somewhere. No, it's rubbed off, but it's kind of like an ochre-y, quite yellow. Then let's just bring that down with a little bit of the brown. You can see I'm mixing, starting with the light colours. I'll just take it down a little bit more. Oh, that's a bit too much. That's quite nice, and you can use your test paper just to do a little test. That's looking good. Okay, wash the brush off again, and we are going to mix up those reds and oranges. So let's start. I'm going to try this first and see how we get on. Because it's on the same palette as that, so it'd be nice to use that again. Let's just, I think that's going to be a bit too much. Right, let's go back and add this more kind of sort of deep red. Let's take a little bit off. I can always add more if I need to. Yeah, this is quite nice. I'm quite liking that. Add a little bit more. Just try it on the paper just to see how different it is. I think I could go a little bit more red. That slightly more. And I might even take it up slightly with that one. Wow, it might be too much now. Oh no, I'm quite liking that. Okay, let's add a little bit of that just to bring it down slightly. Let's add a little bit of the green. Okay. So then I've got kind of like, so we've got a kind of orange berry. Now I want a more kind of pinky berry. So again, using that same colour palette. So let's start with the ochre as our base. Add some of that. I think it's the crimson. Don't seem to have the I can't. I'm sorry, but I can't give you the names of the. So this one is. No, the name's rubbed off. Oh, sorry, but it's kind of like a sort of a pinky red. And again, let's just try that. Might just add, just to make that slightly more orange because there's not quite enough contrast. That's better. There we go. And then I'm just going to bring that pinky red slightly down, a little bit of the green, although I don't want to use all this green up because I will be using it in a bit for the leaves. And let's try. That's better. You can see that green has just brought that red slightly down to kind of come in with all those colour palettes, the same colour palette we're using. Okay, great. So that's our colours mixed up. So let's have a little practice now. Just how we're going to make up our berries and our corn. So all we're simply going to do is just take one of our cotton buds, and just dip it into your paint, and that's it. Simple as that. That's how you're going to make your berries. And we're going to be doing these in little clusters. Like that. Okay, so do you think you can do that? I know you can. And then for the corn, we're just going to take that golden colour, and for that we're just going to slightly, you're going to use just the side. So with the berries we were using the tip, and with this we're just using the sides to make those ears of corn. Okay, and that's it. It really is as simple as that. For these other berries, we're going to do exactly the same. So these little red ones there, or the pinky ones, I've done as kind of clusters. And then the orange ones, they're more like they're on a spike. So we can just practice that if you want. So again, take your cotton bud, and we're going to use the tip of the cotton bud. Let's load that up a bit more. If you can manage that, imagine that in a spike, and then the little red ones, it's kind of little clusters. So try not to make them too uniform, but then try not to put them too much together, because then you do lose that definition like that, and it kind of ends up looking like a sort of a macro sized microbe. So just be careful with that. Okay, and then the other one that we want to practice is just making our sort of our grasses, I suppose they could be. And to do that, you just want to just wet your cotton bud, and you're going to take, if you want to, you can just use a paintbrush, but I did promise you we wouldn't actually be painting today. So if you want to, just use a very thin, like one of the rigger size paintbrushes. And for that, you're just going to do this, that kind of movement. But if you really want to just oh, are you still with me? Yeah. You're just going to take off all of the cotton parts, so you're left just with the paper stick bit. Load it up, and then you're just going to do that. So for example, if I wanted to make my corn, I need to take a bit more off. Right, ignore that bit. I need to take a little bit more of the, haven't taken all of it off. There we go. And that's how we're going to do the leaves. Oh, sorry, the grasses around here as well. And any kind of leaf bits you can see, that again is just using the the cotton bud on the side. Except for that, we're going to make that. I'm slowly running out of green. I might have to mix some more up. Rather than doing it like that, oh, load that a bit more. like we did with the corn. We're going to do it on the outside. So the point goes out rather than in. Okay, so have a little practice if you want to. You can pause this video, have a little practice at some of those, and then when you're ready, bring your naked wreath over. Here we go, before we put anything on it. And it should pretty much be dry. If not, you can just blot it or just dry it off with a hairdryer. I'm just going to blot mine just so we can get started. So I'm just going to have that in front of me just as a guide. I can put my water aside because I won't be needing my paintbrush. And then I'm just going to start just by adding these in. So let's find a yellow one. Let's do the corn first. I'm just turning my page. Let's do one going towards the middle. If you've got a photo of a wreath that you like, then that's makes quite a good guide. Just going to add a few bits in there. I'll just take a little bit of that. Okay, and we're starting to build up our wreath already. Okay. Then let's add some of our berries. So let's go for the orange. I think that was my orange. So if you need to, just get your test piece and just make sure it's printing okay. Oh, actually, I've gone for the wrong colour, haven't I? Let's go with the, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but that was my plan. I'm going to stick to my plan. So I'm just going to do my kind of sort of the more pinky red rather than the orangey one. That's good. So let's pop some of those in. So just do a few to start with. You can always add if you want to. Now, ideally, you do want this to be completely dry. Especially if you're going to go over the sort of the corn itself. And then just to balance it out, I'm just going to do a few bits over the side. I can always come back and add in a little bit more if I need to. Then let's do the orange one. So this is our kind of spike. So just make sure that that's printing nicely. Just a series of dots to make those spikes. Nice. And then we can start, again, this really needs to be dry. So what I might just do, just so you can see the next bit, because the next bit with the kind of the grass and leaves, we do want to do that dry. So let me just blot this, but either leave yours to dry or just dry it off with a hairdryer. Actually bringing those colours right down, it just make it kind of look a little bit more vintage. I might just mix up a little bit more of the green. There we go, and then just using the side. Again, if you just need to quickly have a practice. Still a little bit of cotton on there, so let me take that off. There we go. Let's try that again. Okay, and that's that kind of the motion that we're going to do. And you can see why it needs to be dry ideally, because that's picking up some of the red colour. And then you can just turn your page. Go round. Oh, that was a bit off, that one. And I'm going to do the same, but with some of the corn kind of colour, that dried grasses. And then I've just got a few bits I just want to highlight now. So I'm just going back into my colours. Not every single one, just a few, just little highlights, or where you've just gone over with the green and the green's dry. Lovely. And then do the same with the orange, or whichever colours you've used. And then finally do the same with the corn. Just add some, let me get more of that up. Actually just going to make that slightly darker. So it shows up slightly more. There we go. So a watercolour autumn wreath without using a paintbrush. So what do you think? Do you think that's something that you can have a go at? Get together your glass, your cotton buds, your paint, just have a few practices, just try it out, and please do let us know how you get on. We always love to hear from you here at the Virtual Village Hall. You can post photos in the comments section, so please do that. We love to see what you get up to. Thank you so much for joining me. As I say, I will be here in a couple of weeks' time on the 17th of October showing you how to make the lanterns, so please do join me then. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.